This is Stephanie with Hightower Stitching with today's video, which is sewing a book cover called a tube book cover, and you can make it either quilted or not quilted. Today I'm going to go over the materials, both necessary and optional, and steps for making the cover. As I was getting ready to do this, I thought, well, why would anybody want to do this? I know why I want to do it. But I came up with some reasons, like you want to protect the cover. You want to make the book easier to handle. You want to make the book easy to find. It lets you be creative, and you can create an attractive, functional gift, because the books that I'm using are hardback sketchbooks. I made one book, which I called my prototype, just to see if it would work. And then I did this cover, which is number 2, which is 2-inch squares and batting inside. And then I did number 3 that went together like a glove. It was just perfect, and it's got batting already sewn into it, and you can see it, the ribbon that's down there that you can see. And how this is a tube is I'm going to open the cover of the first book, and you can see that that's part of the material from the front that goes into the tube, and it's the same on the back. All right, some of the optional materials that you might like or think about using, and there are a lot of others. One of them is tape to hook ribbon on, and I chose gross grain ribbon because it's really strong and attractive. I also had a little box of book plates, so I'm just going to stick that in the front of one of the books. And then I thought, well, you might want to write an inscription. The ones I'm doing are gifts. You might leave a front page blank so they could put the contents in it if it was a notebook that they're keeping pictures in or sewing things. And you may want to number the pages ahead for them. And then there's also the option of putting a pencil pocket in the front side. And then don't forget to put a label in there. And it can just be a very simple one. If you look back at the first one, I just went to the back and stuck a little label in there. Okay, this was my prototype, and it doesn't have any batting on the inside, but I want you to see where the tube is. It's right here in the end, and the other. Now this one I tacked so it would stay on the book, and what happens is I've already got the back part in through the part. Alright, then I'm going to take my book and I'm going to lay it and just gently pull it up. I'm going to slide this end in and then shut it, and I've made my cover. And this cover was made out of the adding machine fabric and tape put together. Making the tube part isn't difficult, and the fun part and challenging part is to decide what you want to make your cover out of. And I'll just share a few of these with you. I just took some of my 2-inch squares and sewed those together, and you can get it going in an assembly way, and it goes really quick. And this pack has got 18 times 8 blocks to cover one of the big books, which is 11 by 8.5. And then in the past, I had done strips and batting together. Those were those 1-inch strips that I was trying to use up. And you can tell from that other book, it turned out really cute. I had to add some fabric to the edges because, here's the book, I had to add some fabric to the edge, which was no problem to get it to be the right size, and to make the flap for the inside. And the other thing is those nice blocks that you have left over from other projects or stars or just any material that you know that the person you're making this for will like, or that you'll like, because I had so much fun making them, and they're so easy to handle, and it helped me to find my quilt books. For this book, I picked out a fabric, and then I took muslin. I really like the muslin as the lining because it has some give and it's not so tight when you start trying to put it in the book. And as I move over here, here's the one that I've got ready. And all I did was I got my pattern, figured out how much it was going to be. For the big book, I've got 27 inches by 12 and a fourth inches. And I cut that out of my main fabric, and then I cut another piece out of the muslin. All right, and I laid those face together. Then I added batting. Now you don't have to add the batting, but it makes a nice touch. And when I finish this, like the others, I'm going to go in there and do some quilting on that. And you can do it when it's totally finished, or you can do it as soon as we fold it over in a minute. So once you've got those, and if you'll notice, I've got it centered in the middle. I didn't have it go all the way over to the pieces that make the flap to the inside. That's about 4 inches. And so for this one, I used 19 by 11 and 3/4 inches for the batting. All right, and the first thing I did was lay them the face together, like I said. Then I went up and I stitched 1/4 of an inch or a little less all the way across the top. And then I pressed that seam and then ironed the seam towards the material, not towards the muslin. It wants to go towards the muslin, but you need it to go towards, open it up and iron it towards the colorful fabric that you have. Once you have that done, then you go over to the sides and you've got it opened up. Make a hem that starts from one edge and travels all the way up and goes over into your muslin also, and travel down through that. And you're going to do that on both sides, this side and that side. Now, nothing can go wrong very much with any of that. And even with the bottom, this is going to be the bottom seam. And you can make it small at first and just baste it going across. Turn your tube inside out and use your book and try to put it in there. Now, if it is way too loose, just take it back out, go above your basting, and make another line of basting till you get it where you really like the way the book fits. The very first one I did was a little loose, and so I ended up putting little stitches at the very top of the book after it was in, but that didn't affect me being able to take it out. Here's the tube from one of the books, and you can see here's the tube part. This end is open, and then then I've got it where I've done just a little bit of top stitching on there to hold the quilting together, and the other end, which is the other part of the tube. Once you like the way your cover fits, and you've added your ribbon and your label and your book plate if you have one, and written an inscription inside, even if it's to yourself or a phrase that you want to remember, you'll have a really nice book. And I would say also that when you're making your cover, go ahead and make a paper pattern, and then you'll have it for that big book or the smaller books. This is Stephanie with Hightower Stitching. Notes are added to the description in the front that tell about the optional materials and regular materials, so you can look there. If you enjoyed this or had some fun with it, or you decide to do it, which I hope you do, please hit subscribe and like. And thank you for watching.